did you first hear about Florida? Or what does Florida mean to you? Maybe that's a better way.
Well, Florida used to mean to me spring training, training camps. I've been going to Florida since 1947. And there is the theme song of New York City.
You like this town?
I like to work in this town, and Chet Huntley said it best when I asked him about New York. For 3 or 4 days a week, it is a traffic clogged, polluted, crowded. Everybody's pushing and shoving, and they're all wanting to go someplace, and nobody's really going anyplace. And you've had it up to your eyeballs with it, and then all of a sudden something happens, and it becomes a kind of a beautiful city. Asphalt jungle is pretty accurate, because it's the only town I know of where you wait in line to wait in line.
Yeah, but this is a nice day, you know, everybody's friendly.
Oh, they're all friendly. I'm not saying they're not friendly, but they're all scurrying. And there's always tourists in New York, and so they're always looking at the big buildings or the sites, or they're taking pictures. And you're liable, I don't know how many home movies I'm in that people don't know they've taken, and then when they see them, they're going to say, hey, there's what's his name, that bald-headed guy.
Did you have any days of great melancholy?
You can wake up in this town and feel very bad, you know, and just feel awful, and come into this town on certain days, and I guarantee you that when you leave at 5 o'clock, you feel worse than you've ever felt in your life. Because, like, if there's a garbage strike on, or if there's a cab strike on, because this is the only town where they have strikes to have strikes. There's always a strike in honor of somebody. I don't care what day you come in, somebody is complaining.
You're going down to Florida in a couple of days. What are you going to do when you get there?
Well, we're excited about going down there because we'll be outfitting our Florida home.
Going to play any golf?
Oh, I hope to play golf. I think the course down there is great. It's got enough water, and it's the only course I know it's got alligators on it. I got an alligator down there that's been eating Max flies and Wilson staffs from the last time I was down there. I think it's an exciting time when we go down there because it's such a change in the climate. I don't think you have to be a genius to realize the pollution that we have here.
Well, we'll see you down there then.
Oh, I'll be down there. I look forward to seeing you, and we'll tour some of these places. I'll show you some of the spots I bet you haven't seen.
That could be.
Well, the first time I came down here, Jack Part asked me to come down to speak at the Tony Lima Memorial, I guess you'd call it Memorial Golf Pre-Banquet. Anyhow, the night before, because he had been down for 4 or 5 years, we met Frank Mackle and Bob and Elliot at the banquet, and they got talking about this Marco Island. And I didn't think it was for real. We came back a year and a half later, just kind of on a visit of our own. And we saw some changes, and I started to think, hey, maybe these guys, they're not kidding. Maybe they're going to do it. We drove around, Audrey and I, my wife and I, but we still really weren't that sure of it. Then, last year, when I took a vacation, Audrey said, well, let's go back to Marco. And I said, why? And she said, well, it's primitive, and yet there's people. So we made plans to come down here, and when we came down that time, we really looked around. We looked in all the model houses. We drove around, and then we started to kind of believe in it, and then we talked to Frank Mackle, saw some of the plans, and it's just what we think it's going to be. Yesterday, when I drove around, I went into areas. I had never been up on a tower, and you could see the whole island. And you can see these fingers of land sticking out, and you can see this built-in privacy, and you can see this closer to nature kind of thing.
And if you want to look at birds?
There's 2 or 3 islands out here that must be the Audubon Hilton or something, because there's nothing but birds that check in there. And around 5:30 yesterday, we were out here. Man, they were coming in like it was Hertz Rent-A-Crane. They were all over the place, and it's a beautiful sight to see them come in. And when you see a sunset here...
I was going to ask you, are you a sunset man?
Yes, sir. Because when you see that sunset, you know that there's somebody more powerful than you because, man, it's up there. It's in living color. How can you describe it? I can't. It's like it's a giant television set that just got fixed with a perfect fine-tuning knob. And all you have to do is just look up and watch it, and you know you're alive. Oh, that's beautiful.
You like it?
Oh, I love it down here. I think that... I think the Mackles got something here. They got my approval now. If I had a good housekeeping seal, I'd stamp it right on his forehead. I think it's great what they've done.
Just have a little bit of tape left. What kind of person is Frank Mackle?
Frank Mackle is an honest person. In my life, I run into what I call contract guys and handshake guys. If Frank Mackle shakes your hand and says, this is it, There aren't too many handshake guys around. Most of the guys I deal with are contract guys. If they lay their cards on the table, you better count them. There may only be 48 of them there. But if Frank Mackle tells you something, it's there.
You'd vote for him?
Oh, I'd vote for him. I tell you, the supreme compliment, I'd like to open up a joint bank account with him. You like that?
You think you could do 1 minute on fishing at Mackle Island?
Could I do 1 minute on fishing? What do you mean? Talk about the fishing at Mackle Island? Yes, I could do 1 minute on fishing, because I'm not an expert on fishing, which is really the best way to come to Mackle to fish. If you've got all the answers, then you really can't ask any questions. I came to Mackle, and they said, you'll catch a fish. And I said, ain't no way I'm going to catch a fish, because I've never been fishing. They said, if you'll just let a guide put the bait on a hook, and you do what he tells you, you'll catch a fish. And then they were so confident, so sure, they said, what kind of fish would you like to catch? And going back to my background, I said, a fish that I could eat. And they named a schnook, or a schnook, or whatever you call it. They named a flounder, and they named a snapper. And we caught all three. One of them I lost. And my 10-year-old little girl, who I know has never been fishing, caught a fish. We had a great guide who baited the hook, or whatever you do to the thing. And then you throw the fish out there.
You throw the fish out there?
Well, the fish on the end of the hook you throw out there, the bait, or whatever you call it. Oh, you guys that know how to fish, you're really a bunch of wise guys.
And the ones that you catch, you throw them back?
No. The ones that you catch, you reel them in. I'm an expert already. See, I caught 4 fish.
What percentage you bring in, about 237?
What is that 237 you keep bringing up? Because I was once accused of hitting 237. I want you to know my lifetime batting average was 256, which means a little better than 1 for 4, which is what I did as far as the fish were concerned, too.
Did you teach Gina all she knows about fishing?
No. I didn't teach Gina anything about fishing. Ted told us what to do. He's the expert fisherman. And he told us that when you feel the fish nip or bite the bait or whatever they do down there. Never having lived as a fish, I don't know what they do. But you give them line, and then you let them pull it all the way down, and you jerk it back, and then you reel it in. And Gina did that, and she was almost ecstatic. And, man, it's exciting when you pull one of them into the boat. We pulled some in, and the biggest one got away. We can really say that was Gina's. Gina's got away, and then I lost a flounder, a big one. And boy, he looked like he was happy to be caught by me, too. But I lost him.
Did Ted say these are good eating fish?
Oh, very good eating fish, yeah. He said they're great. In fact, that's what we're going to do. He said it's real great eating. And I've never done that before.
How'd your game go today?
How'd our game go?
Can I answer that for Joe? Joe's game was great, in spots. And
you want to tell me what you mean by in spots?
Yeah. No, I thought Joe played very well today.
We didn't get hurt, so that was fine. See, that's the thing. First thing, whenever you get a golfer that gets on a practice tee, well, even in a pro shop, see, in the baseball business, they call that psyching you out. It's like Ryan Duran taking his glasses off and wiping them, and blinking at you. And you're a hitter, you're saying, this guy may not see me. So you're going to be a little bit leery, see? That's what they call psych. Well, when a fellow goes in a pro shop, and Frank Mackle did this, went in and he bought a glove for his right hand because he's supposed to have an injury to his right index finger, so he ended up with a glove on his right hand, a glove on his left hand. He was just having all kinds of problems, and I felt so sorry for him. And you talk about psyching the guy out, and then on the first tee, boomer right down the middle. See, I hit one down the right field line. But, Frank, you really came on with that garbage today, with the right hand and all. I tell the truth now.
Yeah, well, Joe, I have to have some kind of an edge. I mean, you're an athlete, and I figured I got to get...
The first time I've ever been accused of that. And I'm an athlete. I've never been accused of that. But we had a great time out there. Hey, how about that lady coming up to us? That's a pretty good line. The lady came out. What hole was that on?
What did she say? She said that...
She told you how much she enjoyed the island, and she said, Mr. Mackle, our friends say to us, where are we going on vacation? And we say, well, why should we go any other place? And we can have more fun here than any place I know of.
Exactly.
Frank, what about the houses here? Now, I noticed around the golf course that almost every site is gone, and there are houses popping up all over Mackle Island. Is it pretty near completion as far as home sites?
Oh, no. We have quite a bit of land more to sell. It's all done. Marco Island area will be composed of Marco Island itself and surrounding areas. It'll all look like one place when it's all over.
Let me backtrack, Frank. Where did Marco Island begin?
Well, actually, where Marco Island, we were in between jobs, as the fellow says. And the Collier family, Baron Collier, through Stone and Webster, came to us and said, we have a piece of land that we've been saving. My father had it for 45 years. We would love to see you develop it. We think you're the right people to develop it. So I agreed to come over and look at it, and it's almost like the first time I saw my wife. You know, I fell in love with it. I mean, it was just one of those things. I couldn't believe it, but I knew this was it. I'm getting a little sentimental about it, but I mean, this is the way Marco Island struck me the first time I saw it.
What does it mean to you now, Marco Island?
Well, Joe, you know, opening a thing like this, we spent $6 million here at Marco before we even offered it for sale. And I suppose it's somewhat like a Broadway show where people pour their hearts into something and a lot of money into it. They think it's great, but they have to open it and show it to the public. And this was quite an event to me. I believed it was great. All of our people thought it was wonderful, but we did have to offer it for sale. And when we offered it for sale, of course, it was very gratifying. I think our projection, we sold twice as much as we thought we would in the first year. This is one thing that was tremendously exciting to me, because this is a creative kind of a business. I'm not an artist, but in my own way, it's that sort of thing.
If you had to do it all over and knew then what you know now, would you undertake such a thing as Marco Island with all the pressures?
Oh, absolutely. I think if I had to do it all over again, I would be scared to death that I didn't get Marco to be able to do it. You know, I consider myself to be extremely lucky and extremely fortunate to have had the opportunity to do it. So I would jump at it. The next time where I did it was some trepidation, in a sense, when I told you about relating it to the opening of a show. I'd be so sure of it the next time that I wouldn't even be nervous about it.
Frank, is there anything that you've wanted to do on Marco Island that you haven't been able to do and still want to do?
No, there are things that we still want to do, but they're in the plan for being done.
Like
and
what?
In my mind, well, for instance, the hotel, we're building a 400-room hotel. Well, that's underway now. It's a major hotel. It's the largest hotel, will be the largest hotel on the Gulf Coast of America, so far as we know. As far as I'm concerned, it's out of the ground now, and it's done. You know, it'll be done in a year and a half. As far as I'm concerned, it's done. You've got to understand that Marco is not just a subdivision. It's a major area of Florida that will be known just as well as Fort Lauderdale or West Palm Beach or whatnot. It is a major place name in Florida, or will be.
What effect do you think Marco Island will have on the Everglades?
Well, it should have no effect on the Everglades.
They're just good neighbors?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, this is very interesting.
Could I ask that again?
No. Talk about the weather.
You know, we played golf today, and I got a burn on the top of my bald head. I'm going to have a nice tan, and that's great. And right now, it is pouring.
Well, this typical summer thunderstorm that's occurring right now, this is typical of this season of the year, where you'll get a thunderstorm, hard rain, probably be all over in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's going to be blue skies again.
Frank, I like it down here, and I want to tell my friends about it. How long will I be able to tell my friends that, hey, if you want a place to live, go down to Marco Island?
Joe, as long as you live and as long as your children live, they'll be able to say that. This is the greatest place there is to live. Joe, you've been asking me these questions, and I've been happy to try to answer them to the best of my ability and from my heart. Have you been satisfied with what's happened since you first saw it?
Well, in fact, if you come here every 6 months, it's got to be different. The first time I saw it, I didn't believe it. Well, the Wall Swamp is what it was. I mean, it was a great big area, Frank.
That's
right. My golly, when you cleared off, you did put something up there. And then I saw the shopping center. And where the guy told me the bank was going to go, the bank was up there. The model homes that were on one side of the street, fellow told me, and he didn't know who I was. I mean, when I came here, I was snooping. No guided tour with the VIP treatment or any other kind of treatment. Just like any other typical Italian boy that came from humble parents and knew Yogi Berra, right?
Right.
No, I mean, this is the way you find out by asking questions. And they told me that the model homes were going to be sold, and you're going to put up 9 more different models, and those were up. And I know Audrey and I, we talked about it. We said, you know, whatever they say they're going to do, they're going to do. Now, we came back here 6 months ago, but in front of the hotel, they were clearing. They said, this is all going to be gone. Because when I first came here, I thought that Tarzan, Jane, and Cheetah lived over there, you know, in one of those developments. And now it's all clear. Yeah. And the golf course, for example, the back 9, they would say, well, there are going to be houses here and houses there. That's all happened. And this has been a surprising thing to me. And whatever was told to me has happened. And this to me is an encouraging thing. It's not the kind of a place you come to where you retire and get Geritol pumped into your blood.
That's right.
There's enough happening here, Frank.
That's right.
And this is the thing that I say. I want to protect as a person who's going to live down here, and you keep telling me, well, you just have to have faith, and then I could look it up, and your record states that.
Well, that's right, and we're dedicated to this. We have committed ourselves to people who have already bought to the extent of $140 million worth of property, and we've made a commitment. My name's Mackle, my son's in the business, my brother's son's in the business, and we have a commitment, and we have to live with those people, and we want to anyway, but we can't escape it. We're not here today and gone tomorrow.
You got the most unique office I've ever been in. All 3 of the brothers are in the same office. What are you doing, watching each other?
Yeah. Now, this is the way we've done this all of our business life. It was started by Dad, and of course, we were 3 in one room because he had a private office. When he passed away, we stayed together in the same office. It's quite a bit bigger office now than it was some years ago, but we worked well with this.
Mackle Island isn't just one Mackle. It's all the Mackles.
Oh, of course, Joe. You know, when I speak of I and we and so on, I'm speaking really in an editorial sense. Of course, you know that this is owned by Mackle Island Development Corporation, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Deltona Corporation, which is a public company, of which the Mackles are the largest stockholders. I just, in my way of thinking and doing, it's even more than the Mackles. It's a lot of other people, Neil Barr and many others, that have contributed to this, and I think when I say I'm even speaking for them. What I'm trying to convey to you that this is a whole lot of people doing a big thing. Joe, it's been great having you here, and I just want to make sure I get your promise to play golf, and my right hand is in good shape, and I think I can really take you on that.